A lot of people turn to the spiritual or the occult to discover deep truths about themselves, and often they don't come away disappointed. In fact, one tarot card reader notes that 90% of clients have reported that they found her readings helpful. But are tarot cards real? When we ask whether or not something is real, we're actually asking whether or not something is factually accurate. In truth, reality entirely varies from person to person. We each observe the world and draw our own conclusions based on what we see, hear, and do. Whatever we see or hear at these readings is an observation of the world like any other. In this way, tarot is definitely real. However, that is not quite what I mean. Hello everyone, my name is Beth, or Queen of Spade. Today, we are going to be taking a deep dive into the world of the occult to discuss tarot card readings and whether or not this skill is real, especially real enough for people to profit from. According to tarot historian Tom Tadford Little, traditional playing cards were first seen in Europe in 1375, having been brought over from the Islamic societies where they had been used for centuries before that. These cards were not, however, tarot cards. At this point, he says, there is no evidence to show that tarot cards had yet been created, which goes against many claims that ordinary playing cards evolved from the original tarot deck. It wasn't until 1440 that the cards that were most likely the origin of tarot cards were first mentioned. In a letter from the Duke of Milan, there was a request for several decks of triumph cards to be used at a special event. The letter differentiated triumph cards from regular playing cards. It does appear, however, that the first tarot deck were created as a game. There were 4 suits, with cards numbered 1 through 10, and also court cards that included a queen, king, knight, and page. The deck also included 22 symbolic picture cards that did not belong to any suit. The decks were used to play a game called Triumph that was similar to Bridge. In Triumph, 21 of the 22 special picture cards were permanent trump cards. The game spread quickly to all parts of Europe. People began referring to it as tarocchi, which is an Italian version of the French word tarot, around 1530. In 1781, in France and England, followers of the occult discovered tarot cards. They saw the symbolic pictures of the cards as having more meaning than the simple trump cards they were used for a long time. They used the cards as a divination tool, and occult writers wrote about the tarot. After this, the tarot became a part of occult philosophy. There are also those who believe that tarot cards originated in Egypt. In some circles, they are thought to be the sole surviving book from the Great Fire that burned the libraries of ancient Egypt. In this theory, the cards are considered to be hieroglyphical keys to life. Today, any given tarot deck consists of any number of cards, but the main amount used is the deck of the 78 cards, sorted into what's called the minor arcana and the major arcana. The minor arcana looks sort of like a deck of playing cards. It has 4 suits, as well as kings, queens, and jacks. Rather than spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs, however, the suits are wands, swords, cups, and circles or pentacles. Well, I like the spade better, just saying. The major arcana are not associated with the suits. They include the picture cards that represent principles, concepts, and ideals. They are numbered 1 through 21, with the 22nd card, the Fool, marked as 0. The major arcana cards represent strong, long-term energy or big events in some area of life. Each card is packed with information. Some systems rely on numerology, i.e., where the card falls in the deck, astrology, and the Kabbalah to give deeper or slightly different levels of meaning, and each deck is even slightly different. The Rider-Waite deck, though, is the one with which many tarot newbies begin, not only because it's the most common and easiest to find, but because illustrator Pamela Coleman Smith's images are so colorful and clear and packed with symbols to indicate what the card itself means. However, there was one very important piece of information I was surprised to find while researching for this video, and that is a deck of cards not often discussed, the Thoth deck. This deck was first released as part of Aleister Crowley's The Book of Thoth in 1944. It does represent a somewhat different evolution of the original Golden Dawn designs, the Book of Thoth. The deck, executed by Lady Frieda Harris as a series of paintings between 1938 and 1942, owes much to Crowley's development of Thelema in the years following the dissolution of the Hermetic Order, while the deck follows Golden Dawn teachings with respect to the zodiacal associations of the major arcana and the associations of the minor arcana with the various astrological decans. While Crowley managed to print a partial test run of the standalone deck using 7 color plates included in the Book of Thoth, it was not until the 1960s, after Crowley and Harris's deaths, that the deck was first printed in its entirety. In case you are unaware of whom Aleister Crowley is, Aleister Crowley, born on October 12, 1875 and deceased on December 1st, 1947, was an English occultist, ceremonial magician, poet, painter, novelist, and mountaineer. He founded the religion of Thelema. Thelema is an occult, social, or spiritual philosophy developed in the early 1900s. And Crowley asserted or believed himself to be the prophet of a new age, the Aeon of Horus, based upon a spiritual experience that he and his wife, Rose Edith, had in Egypt in 1904. By his account, a possible non-corporeal or preterhuman being that called itself Awas contacted him through Rose and subsequently dictated a text known as the Book of Law, or Liber Al-Vel Legis, which outlined the principles of Thelema. The Thelemic pantheon, a collection of gods and goddesses who either literally exist or serve as symbolic archetypes or metaphors, include a number of deities, primarily a trio adapted from ancient Egyptian religion, who are the 3 speakers of the Book of the Law: Nuit, Hadit, and Rahur-Kuit. Sorry if I said those wrong. In at least one instance, Crowley described these deities as a literary convenience. Aspect of Thelema and Crowley's thought in general inspired the development of Wicca, and to a certain degree the rise of modern paganism as a whole, as well as chaos magic and some variations of Satanism. Some scholars, such as Hugh Urban, also believe Thelema to have been an influence on the development of Scientology, but others, such as J. Gordon Melton, deny any such connection. Lately, I have definitely seen a crossover between Wiccas and those who practice magic using tarot cards. I have also seen a rise in modern paganism, which was partially why I decided to do this video. Just keep in mind that this also may have been where Scientology came from, a very well-known cult we may be looking at in the very near future. So, what happens when you go in for a tarot card reading? I have never been to one. So what happens when you show up and expect your tarots to be read? Is that a thing? No? Well, whatever. Before a reading occurs, the person receiving the reading shuffles the cards. Some say this transfers that person's energy to the deck. The person receiving the reading also should be concentrating on the question or area for which they want guidance while he or she shuffles the deck. In some more traditional circles, a more elaborate sorting and separation of the cards is performed. Once the cards are shuffled and the deck has been cut, the reader lays out the cards in a pattern called the spread. Each position in the spread has a meaning, and there are many different types of spreads, ranging from those that incorporate a single card to spreads that include all 78 cards of the deck. Which spread is used is up to the reader and the specific type of question or reading. Some spreads focus more on a specific type of information. For example, one spread might concentrate more on emotional matters, while another might bring in more information about the influences of others. One of the most common spreads is the Celtic Cross. However, there are many more spreads for tarot card reading, and readers can even make up their own. Once the cards are laid out, their meanings are interpreted based on their positions and their neighboring cards. Because tarot cards have one picture that faces in one direction, it is possible that cards will be facing the opposite direction when dealt. According to most sources, this doesn't change the meaning of the card, but simply weakens the impact of the meaning. The Death card means ending, transition, elimination, inexorable forces. The Fool card means beginning, spontaneity, faith, and apparent folly. The High Priestess card, non-action, unconscious awareness, potential, and mystery is what it stands for. The Lover's card stands for relationship, sexuality, personal beliefs, and values. And the Magician card is for action, conscious awareness, concentration, and power. Now that we know where tarot cards originated from, more about what the cards mean, and we have heard what occurs during a tarot card reading, surely there must be some sort of certification one can receive in order to do this. I mean, right? How do you learn the art of tarot card reading? Well, to learn the art of tarot card reading, you can read books, take courses, and even become certified. Courses are taught online and in classes through tarot organizations and through independent tarot teachers. Various organizations have offered certifications over the years, including the Tarot Guild. Yes, the Tarot Guild is a thing. As tarot isn't regulated, any certification readers elect to do is entirely voluntary. Typically, to achieve these certifications, you must have varying levels of experience as well as pass standardized tests. Some of the certification levels may be as follows. You have the Certified Tarot Reader, the Certified Tarot Professional, the Certified Tarot Master, and the Certified Tarot Grandmaster. Other countries also have their own tarot certifying organizations. This is going by the USA certification since most of my viewers are in the US. Does this sound familiar? A lot like certification you can receive from MLMs? Let me know down in the comments below. Contrary to popular belief, tarot cards are not a psychic ability. The cards don't tell you what you should do or what specifically is going to happen in your future, but rather the possibilities depending on the path you take. Let's look at some of the theories behind how tarot cards could possibly work. By that I mean, why are so many people in 2020 still falling for this scam? Carl Jung believed that in addition to the repeatable cause and effect relationship on which the scientific world is so strongly based, there is also another connecting principle that does not share that cause and effect relationship. He called this principle synchronicity. According to Jung, synchronicity explains the guiding forces in the universe. Things we might see as coincidence are actually signs that can help us make decisions and guide our lives, if we recognize them. Jung believed that quantum mechanics could be a possible explanation for the phenomenon of synchronicity. Quantum mechanics explains the relationship of particles and their random interconnectivity, with behaviors being probabilities rather than certainties. There are those who believe that because the forces of quantum mechanics affect the reality of physical objects, tarot cards might play the role of showing us paths and patterns and helping us understand the meaning in those guiding energies. Although, according to the principles of quantum mechanics, once you see the possible outcomes in the tarot reading, you've changed the probabilities. Some say it all boils down to your subconscious mind. Arguably, how we perceive things relies heavily on our subconscious, and there are those who believe that with tarot, the subconscious projects its own interpretations on the tarot cards. As a person receiving a tarot reading, your interpretation of the cards is a result of the factors in your life that shape who you are and what you are about. The questions you have about your life. Usually the reason for consulting the tarot in the first place are projected onto the pictures, so you divine answers from what you see. In this way, the tarot is useful in helping us to tap into our subconscious to find answers that we might never consciously think of. The ink blot test uses a similar principle to delve into the subconscious. The tarot card reader could be using cold reading when they are doing your reading. Cold reading is a set of techniques used by mentalists, psychics, fortune tellers, and mediums. Without prior knowledge, a practiced cold reader can quickly obtain a great deal of information by analyzing the person's body language, age, clothing or fashion, hairstyle, gender, sexual orientation, religion, ethnicity, level of education, manner of speech, place of origin, etc. Cold readings commonly employ high probability guesses, quickly picking up on signals as to whether their guesses are in the right direction or not, then emphasizing and reinforcing chance connections and quickly moving on from missed guesses. Psychologists believe that this appears to work because of the Forer effect and due to confirmation biases within people. The Barnum effect, also called the Forer effect, or less commonly, the Barnum-Forer effect, is a common psychological phenomenon where individuals give high accuracy ratings to descriptions of their personality that supposedly are tailored specifically to them, yet which are in fact vague and general enough to apply to a wide range of people. This effect can provide a partial explanation for the widespread acceptance of some paranormal beliefs and practices, such as astrology, fortune-telling, aura reading, and some types of personality tests, along with tarot card readings. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. It is an important type of cognitive bias that has a significant effect on the proper functioning of society by distorting evidence-based decision-making. People display this bias when they gather or remember information selectively, or when they interpret it in a biased way. For example, a person may cherry-pick empirical data that supports one's belief, ignoring the remainder of the data that is not supportive. People also tend to interpret ambiguous evidence as supporting their existing position. The effect is strongest for desired outcomes, for emotionally charged issues, and for deeply entrenched beliefs. Confirmation biases contribute to overconfidence in personal beliefs and can maintain or strengthen beliefs in the face of contrary evidence. Poor decisions due to these biases have been found in political, organizational, financial, and scientific contexts. These characterizations are often used by practitioners as a con technique to convince victims that they are endowed with a paranormal gift. Because the assessment statements are so vague, people interpret their own meaning. Thus, the statement becomes personal to them. Also, individuals are more likely to accept negative assessments of themselves if they perceive the person presenting the assessment as a high-status professional. Individuals are also more likely to believe a tarot card reading if they believe the person has magic abilities and may even be certified, when truly the tarot card reader is just using these techniques. IBIS World stated, the psychic services industry has grown steadily over the 5 years to 2019 as a result of improved economic conditions and growing acceptance of industry services among consumers. Following a dip during the economic downturn, rising disposable income levels over the past 5 years have spurred demand for discretionary services like psychic readings. Furthermore, a long-term shift in consumer perceptions has underpinned growth as industry services are increasingly accepted among mainstream consumers. Overall, industry revenue is projected to rise an annualized 1.6% over the 5 years to 2019 to total $2.2 billion, including a forecast 1.3% jump in 2019. The industry is continuing to grow as we speak. Just over the past year, you see another increase in the search trend for topics around psychics and tarot, with revenues of the psychic industry expected to grow to $2.4 billion over the next years. We have to ask ourselves, with all we have learned today, is this just a scam and a way to get money from people? However, whether you believe that tarot cards hold any power or ability to shed light on your life, your problems, or your future might depend on how easily you can open your mind to the idea of it. Many tarot card readers have differing ideas about how or why the tarot works. In fact, some say we only need the tarot to help us until we learn to get in touch with our inner guide on our own. This is part of the reason why I have a hard time accepting tarot card readings as real. There is no set deck of cards. There is no set way to read them. There is certification, but certification of what? Due to the first 2 points I mentioned, and society seems to be more open-minded to the idea of the occult or pseudoscience practices today than we have in a long time. Therefore, I believe we are being tricked into believing that tarot card readings can give us accurate readings of our future. Charging for these services is something that has been occurring more and more lately, and in future we will be discussing some of the people who dupe the public into believing they have this special gift of reading the future. For now, I would like to sum up this video by saying, in conclusion, there is nothing that can actually predict the future. There are two exceptions that work sometimes. Number one, past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. People do the same things over and over again, even if those things are hurtful to themselves. And number two, if you have a cause and effect relationship and you trigger the cause, you can reasonably expect the result to follow. However, reading tarot cards are not one of them. Charging money in order to trick people into believing you are magic is never a good idea, and society needs to wake up and realize that we are all falling for this. This is an occult practice. Do you believe in ghosts, goblins, witches, tarot card readings? Let me know in the comments and tell me why or why not. Please do give this video a like, subscribe if you're new here. I'm super excited to be over 600 subscribers, and I want to take a moment to thank you all for being here. It means the world to me. I will be putting together something really special to celebrate. But basically, just know as you go out into the world today and you're on YouTube or whatever platform you're using, if you see someone out there and they're claiming that they can read your tarot, tell you the future, or let you see your inner self, just know it's a scam, especially if they ask you for money to do so. And no matter where you are or what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous day. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!